analyst. The budget is contributed positive towards the education sector. Education is one of the four essential requirements for a man after food, clothing and shelter. Education has been of significant importance for developing countries like India. The government has contributed 24%, nearly 53,000 crore for the development of education sector. It is allocated 21,000 crore for the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is 40% higher than the previous year. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is an institute which is basically established for providing elementary education for the children to the age of 6 years to 14 years of age. It is basically established to bridge the gap of social, regional and gender differences, and it is a means which provides social justice by providing education to the children. It is also granted special grants are given to the institutes like IIT Kharagpur, which is given 200 crores is been allocated for that institute. AMU, that is Aligarh Muslim University, for that it is rupees 50 crore. IIM Kolkata, as you know, is a business B school. In that the government has allocated rupees 20 crore. These allocations have been done basically for providing financial research and training for these institutes. Training are given and education is provided to these institutes. Indirectly, it would be beneficial for the country, the economic development of the country. The government has also contributed to for higher learning and research to 1,500 institutes, which will be implemented by March 2012. This is also basically for learning and research, so that new advanced technologies and new methods of learning will be implemented. The government has also granted for nearly 5,000 crore for University Grants Commission, that is UGC, and for technical education it is nearly 5,600 crore. The government is allocated in this particular sector because as technology advancement, so one has to be acquainted with the developments being taken. The government has also granted for 1,000 crore for national mission in education through information and communication technology. National mission is an institute which is basically established for say distance learning education. So for that the government has allocated 1,000 crore. So you can see the overall impact of education is positive. The better academic and industrial interactions. It will lead to higher level of research and development programs. So the government, as you asked the question, the institutes, the government has given more grants and for development of new institutes.
There are about 10,000 educational institutes in just the HEC category, higher education category. There are approximately 20,000 in the K-12 category, K-12 being till 12th standard. Out of 50,000 institutions, if the government has been kind and magnanimous enough to fund 5 institutions or maybe 10 more, how is this actually helping the academic industry nexus?
So, like maybe later on, grants or allocation will be given to like different other.
You don't have to protect the finance minister. That's fine. Wouldn't make the budget. I get it, right? But is there anything that you studied with?
The government should allocate for the other as well.
So then would you say that this budget really has an impact where there is better interaction between academic
for these institutes there is, but not for others.
So it's not a sectoral influence. It's a very limited, skewed impact. Would you agree?
So now over a series of scans, the real estate is going through a very tough time.
Yeah.
So has budget given any contribution towards the real estate sector?
Yeah, surely it is not positive. The impact is neutral. There was the existing scheme of interest subvention of 1% on housing loan has been extended from 10 lakhs to 15 lakhs this year. This will help in better affordable housing facilities. And the existing housing loan limit given by banks has been increased from 20 lakhs to 25 lakhs. And proposed investment deduction to businesses, real estate business developers, whoever do their business under the notified scheme of the government will get tax exemption. And the negative from the budget is that there will be levy of MAT on the developers of real estate sector people under FEZ.
As As you can see, capital infusion of 6,000 crore in public sector public sector bank to maintain a tier 1 capital at 8%. Moving to the SARFAESI Act 2002 be amended, which will prevent frauds involving multiple landing of the same immovable property. The SARFAESI Act is it empowers banks and financial institutions to recover their non-performing assets without the intervention of the court. And then the impact would be allocation of funds to maintain the tier 1 capital to risk weighted asset ratio at 8% and increase the government equity to 58%. The capital infusion of 6,000 crore, it will increase the government equity to 58% in the public sector banks. Then the amendment of SARFAESI Act 2002 will be improve the asset quality. Infra and power sector, budget has some positive things on this sector, like an allocation of rupees 2,14,000 crore. It has been increased by 23% from the last year, and it covers the 48% of our total the government total expenditure. And it shows that government is very keen to improve the infrastructure facilities in the country. Moving to the next point, there is a 5-fold increase in the limit of FII corporate bonds in infrastructure sector to rupees 2,500. It shows that currently infrastructure sector facing a cash crunch. So this increase in the limit will provide a needed avenue where they can provide a avenue of funding where they can provide a funding to their infrastructure projects. Moving to the next point, government has issued the tax-free bonds of 30,000 crores. What is the reason why these bonds called as a tax-free bonds? Because when you invest in these bonds, you'll get a tax exemption of rupees 20,000 under the section 80 CCF.
Explain to the audience how this budget has promoted that kind of inclusion where pan country, infrastructure development, and everything else is happening. Or is it still limited to those set pockets where in the previous budget we saw investments being made? In the budget before that we saw investments being made, and so on. So is it really inclusive?
It's really inclusive because if you combine this with the real estate sector also, there has been a lot of stress on the affordable housing. So most
real estate, infrastructure, two very different.
Two very different things, sir.
Power, very different.
Yeah.
I am talking of infra and power, not real estate.
Okay.
Tell me, infra and power, how has this budget made it inclusive? It is largely restricted to very limited pockets.
Right.
So it is not inclusive. I mean, I'm willing to be corrected. I'm not bullying you. I'm just trying to understand.
Because I personally don't know what's the investment multiplier. Like if you invest say 100 rupees in infrastructure sector, I don't know what's the multiplier. If the multiplier is really high, then it would definitely lead to inclusion.
So therefore, that's an area we need to figure out. Right? You may also want to compare this budget with the previous two budgets to see exactly how allocations for infra and power have changed over the past 3.